Imagine you help someone at their lowest point. You give them your time, your energy, your trust, even your love. Then one day, that same person betrays you. Not by accident, not out of confusion, but with intention. And you're left with one question: should you forgive? For centuries, forgiveness has been presented as a moral ideal. The strong forgive, the wise forget. But Friedrich Nietzsche looked at human behavior differently. From his perspective, some betrayals don't just damage relationships, they expose character. And in some cases, they leave something behind that can't be restored. These are 9 forms of betrayal often linked to that idea. 1. The betrayal of trust. Trust is built slowly, through consistency over time. But it can collapse in an instant. One deliberate lie is enough. When someone knowingly takes advantage of your trust, it stops being a simple error. It becomes a decision. And decisions reveal who a person is. Even if trust is rebuilt later, it rarely returns to its original form. What remains is a version shaped by damage. 2. Jealousy disguised as support. Not everyone is comfortable with your progress. Some celebrate it, others tolerate it, and some quietly resent it. Jealousy doesn't always appear openly. Sometimes it hides behind subtle comments or discouragement. When someone begins to undermine you because of your growth, the issue goes beyond personal insecurity. It breaks the possibility of shared progress, and that kind of fracture is difficult to repair. 3. Abandonment during hardship. Many people stay close when life is easy, when things are stable and rewarding. The real test comes when everything falls apart. That is when support becomes optional and character becomes visible. Those who disappear in your lowest moments often weren't attached to you, but to what you provided or represented. When that changes, so does their presence. 4. Breaking their word. A promise is only meaningful when it is kept under pressure. Without that, it is just speech. Over time, promises have become easy to make and even easier to ignore. But when someone repeatedly breaks their word by choice, it signals unreliability at a deeper level. At that point, the foundation of trust in the relationship is already compromised. 5. Emotional manipulation. Not all harm is direct. Some of it is psychological and gradual. Manipulation works by distorting perception, creating doubt, and shifting your sense of reality. Instead of confronting you openly, the manipulator influences how you think and feel until you second-guess yourself. It is less about strength and more about control, achieved through undermining rather than honesty. 6. Betrayal in love. Romantic trust carries emotional depth that goes beyond logic. You share vulnerability, expectations, and identity itself becomes intertwined with another person. When that trust is exploited or replaced without regard, the impact is not limited to the relationship. It affects how a person sees themselves and others afterward. Some of those effects linger far beyond the ending itself. 7. Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy creates 2 versions of the same person, one presented publicly and one expressed privately. In front of you, there is approval. Behind you, there is criticism or contempt. This gap between appearance and reality erodes clarity in relationships. When honesty disappears, what remains becomes unstable, because you can no longer predict what is real and what is performance. 8. Undermining your ambitions. Not everyone is supportive of growth. Some people respond to ambition with doubt, ridicule, or dismissal. Instead of encouragement, they attempt to shrink your expectations to match their limitations. This type of behavior doesn't just affect confidence in the moment, it can influence direction and long-term potential. It targets what you are trying to become. 9. Self-betrayal. This one is less visible but often the most damaging. It happens when a person repeatedly ignores their own values, tolerates what they know is wrong, or abandons what they believe in to gain acceptance or avoid conflict. Over time, this creates internal conflict. The cost is not external loss, but distance from one's own identity. The gap between who you are and who you act like slowly expands. Eventually, most people experience betrayal in some form, from friends, partners, colleagues, or even family. The difficult part is not only what happens, but what it reveals. Trust is not about ignoring patterns or forcing access to people who have shown you otherwise. It is about recognizing behavior for what it is and adjusting accordingly. Because while not every mistake defines a person, repeated betrayal often does.